I mean, first of all, credit to right there, Sandy, huge block, and Mitchie playing the center with no stick. He had a block right before this too,
Right.
uh, with no stick, and we're down 2 men. So all three of the guys,
And he's
Timmy
getting
did.
hooked.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of those plays where everything is to our disadvantage here. But I remember this game and I remember this play. And I know for a fact that we get the job done here. So knowing that now, really credit to these guys because that's a big part of goaltending too. Is getting good defensive play from your team. So credit where credit's due. Like look at Mitchie here, no stick, getting hooked, trying to get something in the lane, and like I said, he just blocked one right before this too. And you see Sandy come over and make a huge block, and then chaos ensues after that, from what I remember. But yeah, that right there was a goal saver. Let's see what happens here.
You recover
I'm
up.
probably I'm probably honestly in this scenario too. I'm probably gassed
Right.
because I believe this was almost a full 2 minute long
5-on-3.
free.
Okay.
It was chaotic the entire 2 minutes. So from what I remember, my technique and form was not maybe not up to par here,
Okay.
but I was sucking wind, and sometimes it's just what you got to do to get it done. So like right here is a great example. If you go back to that first kind of cross crease pass, or kind of right after Sandy's block.
Okay. I'm going back. Sorry. So right after Sandy's block, it comes.
Yeah,
There it is.
right there, I don't love where I end up. I'd rather have my skate on the post there, but
Okay.
because it's so chaotic, this stuff happens all the time, and you gotta roll with it. But here, when I get up, it's a little bit clunky because the skate's not on the post; it's in the net, and that just makes for a lot more difficult movement out of that. And I'm sucking wind like crazy, so yeah, just an ugly move and an ugly pre-move, I would call it. But again, you just at this point, the guy's taking a one-timer from inside the dots. You just try to get something over there. I think I got my blocker on that one, or maybe Pat.
A blocker or pad, but the one thing I'll say, even when it's clunky when you stand up, the first thing you do is get your head around on it. Like if we
Yeah,
rewind it, you may not love that you had to get up and pull that pad outside of the post, but once that pass goes across, the first thing that goes, so
yeah,
at least you can see what's happening.
yeah, good. Yeah, definitely good eyes on that one. And I knew that Pavelski was over there the whole 5-on-3. I think he had a couple more one-timers from over there too.
There's a
So
shooting gallery.
I knew he was there, and I do like how I stayed semi-contained. Now this one, it goes right back to his tape before I have time to get up. So that's what
But
kind of makes
but you
also
still catch that left edge to prevent yourself from swinging around, right? Like
yeah,
if you're coming across here, instead of just letting your momentum take out, you catch your edge to stop yourself.
yeah. And then I'm probably thinking he's going to shoot here. And so when he passes, I'm on my knees, kind of a sitting duck, but I get a good edge in quick. I get eyes around. I probably can't see it just yet, but I know it's coming to this guy, and basically just hoping that he didn't one time it because I wasn't there. And then I was able to just kind of like shimmy over because the push was definitely in a bit of a rush, so I came up short a little bit. So I basically just shimmied over and did my best to react to it. These are the kind of plays where the only real read is just get something over there, and that happens a lot, especially on these 5-on-3s. And going over it, if you're talking technique, it's not pretty, but sometimes you just got to get the job done because it's such a chaotic game out there. It's never going to be perfect every time.
Well, it's not a game of, I guess, especially now with the East West, and especially in a 5-on-3. But like, it's funny because even within that, Matt, I see details like catching your edge so you stay contained, like the first, like loading the edge on the and making sure the head comes around, which allows you to have rotation, so that when you push across, you actually have control of that glove and you can see where everything is in front of you. Where like if those little details aren't there and you just sprawl or you reach first, you probably don't even give yourself a chance to be there.
Yeah, and I think I think that's a good lesson for young kids too. The fact that technique is very important because it does give you a chance on almost everything. If you have proper technique and you play the right way and you build your habits, like I said, at this point, I remember being just like
Gassed.
insanely tired. It's at the end of a period. We're all just, like I said, just sucking wind out there after a long 5-on-3. And so you're really not thinking. You're just trying to get through it. And this is all basically like getting that edge in is all just habits built over however many years. Because like you said, if I don't get that edge in, then I don't even have a chance here. You could take his free time and still have a wide open net.
Well, and I just love the head comes around, the edge comes up and grabs it at the same time. So when you do push across, even if you don't love the push, like you said, you don't have time to load it perfectly. If you don't get that edge around, the push is probably up to the top corner of the crease, like even flatter than it is, and then you don't have this access to the puck. You like you said, it may not be perfect, but you've given yourself access and eyes.
Yeah, and in these chaotic situations, sometimes that's all you can ask for, and then you just gotta battle from there. Even the save there, like not just leaving my pad on the ice, probably saves it too. Like if I just come over and don't move and don't react with that leg, it probably goes kind of 6-hole over the pad under the arm. But trying to get a little bit of extra kick into that save is what ends up making the save.
Yeah, so this is one of those where like you feel like you don't have a lot of time, but you have more time than you think. So like it's easy to just kind of like barge out at the guy right away, and maybe you go too early and he puts it back far side. So here like it's tight, and the guy makes an incredible pass through two guys. So for me, instead of just going, like I'm leading with my head first, kind of slowing down the game. Try to see if the puck's gonna hit anything. Boom, it's going to that guy's stick blade, and then I take the time to kind of read the play and just explode out. Right here, my read is just to get as close as possible to it and just barge out, and I just have good coverage. I'm covering the middle of the net. I track that pass well and off the blades, so I gave myself a good chance at getting a piece of it.
I just want to rewind it because as that puck's coming through, like you said, that's pretty tight quarters, and like you're all over that thing.
Yeah, so it was a one-timer also, like on a stick, off a stick, and a lot of times, it feels like the game's moving so fast, and sometimes it gets you kind of all out of whack, and you're trying to chase the game, but there's times where like here, I had more time than it feels like that guy's taking a one-timer right away from the corner. But I kind of just slowed it down, just made sure I tracked the pass, saw where I had to be and where he was shooting, and just made a one motion save into the puck.
I gotta ask, because we were watching you out here with Marco and 3-on-3 and like drills that are just like point blank, grade A after grade A. Like, is that where it pays off?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we work in a 3-on-3 rink, so everything's a grade A, and it gets the play is developed really quickly, and the puck's on and off the stick. So that feeling of he puts me in like drills where like I feel like I have zero time, and I kind of try to slow it down and make my own time, and just lead with my head and just slow down. Don't rush my pushes. Just get to my spots, make my read, instead of just going blind.
Yeah, I think this one's a similar play for sure. Starts on the rim again. And then, like, for me, it's the same type of thing. So when the puck gets here, he's not necessarily like an attacking the net threat. So I think this check up the ice right there is really important, just because then you can see what's going on here, and you can see in your peripherals just where the play is. And
it's so important to look off the puck, eh?
Huge. For me, I try to look off as much as I can. Like anytime backs are turned or guys aren't like in a position to attack the net, like just understanding what's happening, I think is so important as far as reading the play and understanding how the play is going to develop. And then similar, like I think I could even be probably in reverse a little bit earlier there, just because like again understanding where the threats are, but still get to the same spot. And I think what's really important on this play is on this pass coming out is using this back leg to push and keeping everything on the short side, because I think that's the biggest threat here. I think a lot of times you want to like the tendency is to use your post leg to push and like cover the far side. But I think the biggest threat on this play is the short side. Like, it's an easier shot to hit the short side, and there's also like, there's more, the net's taller on the short side.
Right. Is that in part because like is the handedness of Nylander on this play a role in that, or is it more just situational from that spot on the ice? That's where they're looking, and that's the more dangerous.
I think for him being a righty, it might give him a little bit more access to the far side. I think a lefty, it's tougher. Like a lefty would really have to like open their hips, which like the best players in the world can do, absolutely.
Right.
Guys in the NHL can for sure do that, but I think a righty like definitely would have more access, but it's still, I think, like the short side here, this space, I think is the priority, just because the net is like, just like with the angles of.
You're good. It's okay.
Sorry, just with the angles of like where the crossbar is, like the net's so much higher on the short side, and there's just more of a threat there. So I think that's super important on this play.
So as that puck comes through, like you're turning your head a bit. Like, what's your priority? You're just trying to find that stick plate.
Yeah, for me, it's just like about understanding, like right from here when that pass goes, seeing the stick blade right there, and then it's just getting to like just a quiet spot on the stick blade. So for me, it's just like into that little butterfly there, and then it makes kind of simplifies the save a little bit.
Okay. Is there a set plan or general rules that you try and stick with?
Try to like hit my destination when he makes his choice of shot or deke.
Okay.
So my destination is right there. It's just top of the crease.
Toes on the edge, heels on, or just some variation depending on speed?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be perfect every time.
And is this kind of the zone where guys typically make a decision, that hash mark area?
Yeah, more or less. It's just a depth control thing. Like, obviously, you have to take a little extra, but you have to control yourself too. Like, you see guys have too much momentum, and by the time he shoots it, the puck's in the net, and you're drifting.
You're on
back.
the goal line.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
So it's just a matter of matching that speed a little bit?
Yeah, matching it, but it also, again, my main focus is that destination. Like, by the time he's either shooting or deking, I'm at the top of the crease.
Reading hands, reading body language, is there anything, that's why only reason I kept this side of it, is there anything about him that tells you shot or deke? Or is it all just so innate that you're not even thinking about it? It's just...
Yeah, I mean, I think as you get reps and you play games, and you can kind of pick up some nuances. His head's up.
Sort of holding it out in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, as he brings it here, for me, it's either he's going to shoot there or he's going to make one deke. As he goes there, he's got some pressure on him. He's got that leg kicked. If he goes and pulls this somewhere, like, our D-man's probably going to catch him, and he knows that.
Okay.
But that's
all part of the read.
Yeah, and it's independent in every situation. Like, it's hard for me to, give a rule of thumb on those.
Yeah.
Just playing goal at some point.